Welcome to Aligned Christ-Centered Yoga. My name is Linda and I'll be guiding our practice today. My question for you as you begin your practice today is this. How comfortable are you with spiritual universalism? I find that in our society, witchcraft, mediums, fortune tellers, all things supernatural are increasingly accepted. Is this a problem? God is very clear and he says yes. When he takes his people from one land into a new land, he tells them this: you shall tear down their altars and dash into pieces their pillars and burn their Asherim with fire. You shall chop down the carved images of their gods and destroy their name out of that place. He says, get rid of all the things that remind you of other gods, that might draw you into seeking something other than me. In the New Testament, Peter tells us this. He says, for the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God. And if it first begins with us, what shall the result be for those who do not obey the gospel of God? I invite you today to focus on Jesus, to protect yourself from getting comfortable with all of the other forces that are out there. Come to a comfortable seated position, maybe elevated up on a blanket or a block. And I invite you to find your sitting bones. Rock a little bit side to side, front to back. Settle in. Find that foundation. One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. I invite you to take a really big breath in and create space. As you exhale, bring your hands down to your legs. Begin to find the strength and the stability of the exhale. So as you settle into the sitting bones, can you lift up and out of the pelvic floor? Can you engage hip to hip in the transversus abdominals? Maybe draw the belly button in and up, softening the rib cage, knitting it together, drawing it back towards the spine. I invite you to find a little bit of support right here at the base of your throat as the head rises high. As you inhale, create that space again. As you exhale, find that strength and that stability. And close your eyes if you're comfortable with that and begin to let the day fade away. Let go of the to-do lists, any burdens that you are carrying with you. Check in, body, mind, and spirit. Where are you emotionally as you begin your practice? How focused are you? How does the body feel? This will be a practice where we focus on focus. It will be a balance flow. So as you breathe, focus on the breath and notice the way that the body moves with the breath. And take one more breath here. Let the hands come down to the side, and on that next inhale, connect movement and breath as the arms rise and push them up with that breath. And exhale as the hands come down to the mat. Maybe add the movement of the head as the gaze follows the hands, as the breath rises. And the head bows as the hands return to the mat. And one more breath here. And this time, leave that right hand on the mat and bring that left arm up and over and use those abdominals to lift the body and to stretch. And inhaling, come up and over to the other side and begin to find length from fingers to hip. 2 more times here. Can you stay connected to the breath? What kind of stretch do you feel in the rib cage today? As you're ready, release. Bring the hands out to the side. Stretch fingers wall to wall. Again, find these bands of support. Exhaling, find cat, tucking the chin, bowing the head. And turn the palms, thumbs down, hands to the back, and open up the body in cow. And 2 more times here. One more time. And as you're ready, raise those arms one final time and bring hands to heart. And closing your eyes, reflect for just a moment. Are there any areas of the supernatural where you hold fascination? Maybe it's time to let go of that. Is there anything that gets in between you and depending fully on the power of God? You and that very personal relationship with Jesus. I invite you to take 2 more breaths here. Let go of whatever it is that you need to let go of today. As you're ready, meet me in table, and if you have any props, go ahead and bring those props to the front edge of the mat. Spread fingers wide. Go ahead and press through the tips of the fingers, drawing the fingers a little bit towards the wrist. Create a little bubble of air in the palm of the hand. Eyes of the elbows facing in towards each other, a little external rotation of the shoulders as they draw back to the hips. Smack through the tops of your feet, press into the tops of your feet. Find a very strong table here. Exhaling, find cat. Inhaling, draw the chest through, drop the hips towards the mat, find cow. And 2 more times here. Find the pace that works best for you. As you finish, meet me back in table. Again, finding the strength of table. Lifting up and out of that pelvic floor, engaging through those bands across the abdominals. Gently draw that right leg back and begin to just go over the top of the foot and then flex the toes and push the heel back and just back and forth here. And then as you're ready, I invite you to float that leg up and notice, did the weight shift over to the left, and can you recenter? And maybe that left arm rises and you find balance here. So try to square the hips and the shoulders to the mat. Maybe the arm and the leg come out wide. Take a breath here. As you're ready, exhale, hands and knees, return to the mat. Find child's pose as the hip crease draws back towards the heels. Forehead towards the mat. Child's pose. Inhale back to table, and one more time, child to table. Reestablish the strength of table, the balance of table. Then take that left leg back. Same thing, begin to just explore mobility of foot and ankle. Maybe stretch through the foot. Maybe you can find a calf stretch here as well. And then as you're ready, raise that leg up. So parallel to the floor again, did you feel the weight shift to the right? And if so, can you begin to even it out a little bit more? Shoulders and hips square to the mat. Raising that right arm up, extending it. The arm is kind of even with your ear here. And then maybe bringing the arm and the leg out to the side. Can you find stillness? Coming back to center, bring hands and knees down, child to table. And one more time. Meet me back in a strong table. Find stability, find strength. Take that right leg back. Draw it up parallel to the mat. This time, bend the knee. Foot comes towards the sky. Begin to strengthen through the hamstrings and the glutes as you press up. Finding strength in these supporting muscles, the muscles that will hold you in your balance poses. And as you're ready, gently just lift that leg up. And maybe you can find a quadricep stretch as well. Now the heel coming back towards the glutes. Maybe this is where you stay. Maybe there's balance as that left arm reaches forward. Flip the palm, thumb down, sweep it back. Maybe you can catch the foot, the ankle. Go ahead and press leg against hand, hand against leg. Maybe there's a back bend. Maybe the gaze comes up. Checking in, how does that feel? As you're ready, release. Child to table. And if your wrists are starting to feel the intensity of all that weight on them, go ahead and tuck the fingers under. Rise up, fingers spread. Meet me in table one more time. Child, maybe the fingers fold under, wrist to the sky. Finding that wrist release. So one final pose here. Same thing we did on the other side. Left leg comes back. Raise it up parallel to the floor. Again, can you center the body? Foot comes up towards the ceiling as the knee bends. Maybe 5 glute presses here. Can you isolate that gluteus maximus as you press up? Can you feel the work of the hamstring, the back of the thigh? And as you're ready, go ahead and bring that leg up. Find the quadricep stretch as the heel comes towards the hips. Go ahead and if you have the balance today, raise that right arm. Flip the hand, palm out, thumb down, sweep it all the way around. Find the foot or ankle presses against the arm presses against the foot. Maybe the gaze comes up, maybe there's a back bend. Find breath. As you're ready, release. Meeting me in table, and again, child to table twice. As you're ready, bring one handprint a little bit further forward on the mat. Find a strong kneeling plank, and as you're in this kneeling plank again, can you find these bands of support? Can you draw the shoulder blades a little bit wide and down the back? Engage the core muscles of the abdominals in the back, and then slowly come down to the mat. Coming in and out of Sphinx pose, take those elbows just a little bit wide, round the shoulders a little as the chest comes off the mat, tucking the chin. And then draw the shoulder blades around and under as the chest comes through the arms and the gaze comes forward. And come down to the mat. And twice more here. Can you connect to your breath? How does the body feel in this? Where do you feel strong today? Where do you feel a little tired today? As you're ready, exhale down. Hands to rib cage. Meet me in table. I invite you to, as you come into table, to tilt your hips down towards the mat. There's a little bit of a back bend there. Curl the toes under. Bring the knees up into the rib cage. Head comes in between the arms. Go ahead and shake your head out, knowing yes. And begin to find your downward facing dog. So pedal through your feet. Let those legs move the hips. Maybe you can find stretch up and down the sides of the body. Maybe you adjust the arms a little bit. Deep breath in, heels rise. Exhaling, heels come down to the mat. And I invite you to stay here in downward facing dog and just checking in. 2 breaths here. What do you notice? On the next inhale, right leg rises high, gaze comes forward, foot comes all the way through the hands. Let that back knee come down and up. Just tapping through that knee, beginning to open up through the psoas muscle. 2 more times here. And then as you're ready, let that knee come down to the mat. Taking a deep breath in, let the arms rise up. Begin to find balance as the hands come underneath the legs, nose to knee. Inhale up. 2 more times here. And then rising up, find that first twist. Right hand to the small of the back. Inhale, lengthen to the spine, and exhale as those ribs wrap around outside of the arm to the outside of the leg. Begin to drop that back shoulder. Adjust the gaze. How does your twist feel? 1 more breath here. As you're ready, release, hands on either side of the foot. Back leg rises, push off that back foot and bring it to the front. Find your first forward fold. Go ahead and just shake your head out, no and yes. And hands to shins, rise up halfway and exhaling, come down. Bring your hands forward as the heels rise. Let hips drop to heels. Bring the hands back right behind those pinky toes. Feet will come flat to the mat. Hips will rise a little bit. And then let the body rise into chair pose. Settling into chair pose here. Find the strength of the pose and then rise up into your mountain. And press the feet down and exhale the hands down. So for a moment, just find balance here. Maybe the palms face forward, rocking a little bit forward and back on the feet, a little bit from the outside to the inside. Pressing at the base of the big toe, little toe, and heel. And then rise up into a calf raise. Just let those heels come up as the arms come up. And exhale down. So if you're struggling with balance here, find the center of gravity somewhere around your belly button. Find the focal point in front of you. Rise up. Exhale down. 1 more time, rising up. Stay up. Maybe the right arm comes down and up. The left arm halfway down and up. Maybe both arms halfway down and up. And exhale, hands and feet down to the mat. Again, deep breath in, arms rise. This time, exhale, forward fold. Stay in forward fold for a moment, just finding it. Shake your head out, no and yes. Maybe bend the knees a little bit, walk the feet a little bit. And then find your forward fold. And hands to shins, rise up halfway, and exhaling, come down, 1 leg back and then the other. Meet me in plank. Come all the way down to the mat. And maybe this time you're in low cobra, maybe you're still in Sphinx. Fingertips to the mat, elbows rise, rounding the shoulder a little bit, the chest comes off the mat. Draw those shoulder blades back under and around. Meet me in low cobra. Exhale down. Hands to ribs. Come back through table and meet me in downward facing dog. Stay in downward dog for 2 breaths, checking in, noticing the effects of that sequence on the body, comparing the right side to the left. As you're ready, the left leg rises high. And gaze forward, the foot comes all the way through the hands, back knee comes down and up. Begin to find that stretch in the hip. As you're ready, that back knee comes down. Taking a deep breath in, rise up into your lunge. Again, checking balance here. Nose to knee as those arms come underneath the leg. Deep breath in, rise up. 2 more times here. And find that twist. Right hand to the small of the back. Inhale, lengthen to the spine. Exhale, wrapping the rib cage around. Outside of the arm to the outside of the leg. Find your breath. One more breath here. As you're ready, release. Let those hands come down to either side of the foot. Go ahead and raise that back knee up. Push off that back foot. Bring it forward. Meet me in forward fold. And hands to shins. Rise up halfway. Exhaling. Come down. Let the hands come forward as the heels lift. Hips to heels. And maybe you need to come into chair pose differently than this. That is okay. Feet pressed to the mat. Hips drop. Body rises. So let's find balance here. So hands to hips, anchor down, maybe thumbs to the glutes as you soften the glutes and draw them down a little bit. Find those bands of support up and down the core. Press into that right foot, just float the left foot. Take 2 breaths. Press into the left foot, float the right foot. Take 2 breaths. So again, how is the balance? Takes a lot of strength to balance. How is the strength today? As you're ready, release. The arms rise up. Hands to heart. So we're going to play with this just a little bit more. Go ahead and raise those arms up. I invite you to sink into the chair pose from here. Can you recreate that same chair pose that you found when you rose from the bottom up? And maybe hands are at hips. That's going to be a little bit easier. Maybe arms are out to the side or hands to heart. Go ahead and step into that right foot, float the left, and just bring that right leg or that left leg out to the side and back to center. And again, how still can the body be as you shift the weight? Two more times, pressing into the right foot, floating the left foot out, pressing it into the left foot, floating the right foot out. One more each, move with your breath. Inhale as you extend. Exhale, come back to that strong foundation. Inhale, extend. Exhale, release. Arms rise up, find your mountain pose. Exhaling, forward fold. Hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhaling, bring the hands back to the mat. One foot back and then the other. Meet me in plank. And from plank, I invite you to come down to the mat. And maybe you're in Sphinx, maybe you're in low cobra, maybe this time Those hands come back towards the hips as the body rises up on hands and feet, finding the back bend, finding downward facing dog if that's your choice. Wherever you are, exhale your way back and find downward facing dog, meeting me there. Find your breath. What do you notice? Drawing the gaze forward, step the feet forward, right then left, meet me in forward fold. Hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhaling, come down, rise all the way up to mountain. Let the hands come down to the side. From here, sink into chair. Press into the right foot, float the left. Maybe the hands stay up this time. Maybe the hands are centered at prayer. Go ahead and take that left foot out to the side. And I invite you this time to bring it back, to begin to press the heel towards that wall behind you, seeking out warrior three. And maybe you can find warrior three. Let the back leg come down into lunge, deep breath in. Sink into lunge, stabilize. Exhale, hands underneath the knee as the nose comes to the knee. Inhale up. 2 more times here. Wobbles are fine. You might even be able to see the muscles of my foot and my calf contracting and wobbling a little there as my leg is finding balance. As you're ready, hands to heart, hinge forward, find your twist. Outside of the arm presses into the leg presses into the arm, stacking shoulders. Exhaling, hands to either side of the foot, front foot floats back. Come down to the mat, find your flow. Find your back bend. As you're ready, meet me in downward facing dog. What do you notice? One more breath here. Gaze forward, bring the feet in between the hands, meet me in forward fold. Hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhaling, come down, pressing through the feet, rise all the way up into mountain. Exhale the hands down, find chair. Find balance in chair. Maybe slow the heart rate down a little with a long exhale. Press into that left foot. Right leg comes out to the side. Bring it back in. Float it back. Push that heel to the back wall. Extend through that front leg as well. Warrior three. Arms can be in airplane. Hands in prayer. Arms extended. Meet me in lunge. Whoops. Wobbles are fine. Check your balance here. Exhaling, nose to knee. Inhaling, rise. 2 more times here. And as you're ready, hands to heart, hinge at the hips. Extend through the spine. Come all the way around. Find your twist here. Rotate that rib cage a little bit more. Find that traction between arm and leg. And as you're ready, hands to either side of the foot. Front foot comes back. Meet me in plank. And from plank, come all the way down to the mat. And again, find your flow. Maybe you're still in Sphinx. Maybe instead of downward dog, you return to child's pose. Make the practice what you need it to be today. What's your energy level? How flexible, how strong do you feel? Wherever you land, check in here, find your breath. Taking a deep breath in, go ahead and bring the feet in between the hands. This time we will come into chair pose from below, hands to shins, come up halfway. Exhaling, come down, let those hands come forward. So you can come into chair pose however you choose to do it. Maybe the hands come back to the toes as those feet press down. Rise into chair. Settle here, pressing into that right foot. Again, that left leg comes out to the side. As you begin to go back into Warrior 3, this time find Warrior 3. Maybe elbow to knee, you find a crunch and extend back to Warrior 3. Leg comes back into lunge, meet me there. Hands to heart, hinge forward. Find your twist. Settle into your twist, extend through the spine, take a deep breath in. As you're ready, release. Front leg comes to the back, meet me in plank. Find your flow as you come back towards that downward facing dog. Finding your back bend, moving with your breath, meeting me in downward dog. Taking a deep breath in. Gaze comes forward, feet come in between the hands. Find your forward fold. Hands to shins, rise up halfway, exhaling, come down. Bend the knees, lift the heels, hips to heels. Hands come back to the little toes, feet float to the mat. Press down into the mat as you rise into chair. Where are your arms for this? Press into that left foot. That right foot's going to come out to the side. Draw the knee in, come back into your Warrior 3. Here's that optional crunch, elbow to knee. Extend back. Maybe that leg comes back down, arms rise. Exhale, hands to the knees, underneath the thigh, nose to knee, 3 times. 2 more here. And as you're ready, hands to heart, hinge forward, find a twist. Maybe a high twist is better for you. That's okay too. Find your breath. I invite you to stay here for 1 more breath. And as you're ready, unwind and the front foot comes to the back and meet me in plank. And from plank, come all the way down to the mat and slide into your back bend. And curling the toes under, meet me in downward facing dog. Find breath here. So 1 more challenge here. Gaze comes forward, feet come all the way through the hands, meet me in forward fold. And hands to shins, rise up halfway, and exhaling, come down, and pressing through the feet, come all the way up. For a moment, find your breath, hands to heart. Find your focus. It takes strength to resist all of the calls of this world. Focusing on Jesus, on the wisdom of his word, on the guidance of his spirit, not needing any others. 1 more breath here. Pressing into that right foot, we're in mountain now. Bring the hands out to the side. Float that left knee up. Imagine that that foot is pressing down into a step. Bring the leg out to the side. Begin to just bring it back a little bit as well. There's that glute press. Shift the hips. Again, all balance. Bring that knee forward. Hands underneath the leg. Let that foot extend forward. So part of balance is vision. So we're going to shift our gaze. Can you look to the outside of that leg as you twist? Maybe bring that front arm across the leg. Give yourself a little bit of traction. Maybe you can shift the gaze again and look behind. Maybe not. Exhale and release. Wobbles are okay. If you fall in and out of it, just come back to the beginning and build it up from the beginning. So deep breath in, arms rise. Other side. Hands come out to the side. Press into that left foot. Again, find the center of gravity. Find those bands of support. Right knee floats up. Body lifts up and out of the hips. Imagine the foot pressing down. Bring the knee out to the side. Angle it back. Use those glutes. Bring the knee forward again. There's a rotation of the hip. Hands underneath the leg. Extend the leg. Find your hamstring stretch there. Maybe the arms come out to the side again. Maybe you twist and the arm comes to the outside of the leg and the leg presses into the arm and the arm presses into the leg. Maybe the gaze comes back. And release. Meet me in mountain. Deep breath in. Reach up as the arms come up with breath. Exhale, hands to heart. Stay in mountain for 3 breaths. What do you notice? Body, mind, and soul. Invite the light of the living God to flood through you, to push out any darkness, any fascination with evil, with things that are not of God. One more breath here. Deep breath in, arms rise, exhaling, find your forward fold. Final forward fold. Hands to shins, come up halfway, exhale down. Stay here for a couple of breaths. Just adjusting into it. Shake your head out, no and yes. And then hands to shins, rise up halfway and exhale down. And one leg back and then the other and meet me in plank. And from plank, draw to your knees and child to table twice. And I invite you to come into child's pose and to stay here for a few breaths. So maybe the big toes are together, the knees are a little wide. Maybe there's another position of the legs that works better for you. Forehead to the mat. If it doesn't quite get there, you can support your head on a blanket or a block. And begin to roll over the forehead, just massaging it out. And then as you're ready, maybe also massaging the forehead, drawing the skin of the forehead down towards the nose and back and forth here. Just kind of over the optic nerve here. Meet me back at center. And stay here for 3 more breaths. Listen for the whispers of the Holy Spirit. Where have you gotten a little too complacent? Gently press into your hands and rise up. Come to a seated position, bringing the feet out wide. Gently just drop the knees side to side, finding a lower body twist, releasing any remaining tension in hips or back. As you're ready, bring the feet forward, come down onto your back. I invite you to settle here for just a moment, noticing the way the back is settled onto the mat, the hips, the curve of the lower back, the connection of the middle back, the connection of the shoulder blades. Find your breath. Then gently bring the knees in. Begin to draw the knees forward and back and forth here to the rib cage and away. Just restoring a natural arch to the lower back. And then as you're ready, feet to the mat, go ahead and extend into Shavasana. And wiggle your feet, yes. Also wiggle your hips side to side. Just finding this position where the body can relax and let go. Maybe the arms rise up, palms facing in, reach as high as you can. Exhaling, let the shoulders drop to the mat. One more time here. And hands come down to the side. And again, I invite palms up if that works for you. Again, inviting the light of the living God. Jesus says that he is the light of the world, to push out any darkness, fascinations with darkness, tendencies towards darkness, filling you with the light of his love, his mercy, his forgiveness, filling you also with the power of the Holy Spirit, the protection of his power and might. I invite you to stay here a little longer if you can. If you need to move on with your day, gently begin to wiggle fingers and toes, rotate wrists and ankles. Turn your head side to side. And taking a deep breath in, bring arms up and overhead and just reach fingers to one wall and toes to the other. Stretch as long as you can. And gently bend your knees and roll over onto your side. Find release here. Find breath. And your next inhale, press into your hands, rise up to sitting. I invite you to find a comfortable sitting position with your legs crossed in front of you. Again, finding your sitting bones. Checking in one final time, body, mind, and soul. Remembering where you were when you came to the mat today, noticing where you are now. What has changed? What has stayed the same? Accepting it as it is. Taking a deep breath in, arms rise up and overhead, palms together. Exhaling, hands to heart, joining me in prayer. Holy God, God of power and might, give us eyes to see you at work, eyes to see where things are wrong and not right and not of you. Give us ears to hear. Let us know truth when we hear it. Let us understand and recognize falsehoods for what they are. We ask, God, that you fill us with your light, with your power, with your might, that we may be your agents in this world, drawing others into your light and away from the darkness of evil. It is in your holy name that we pray. We are so grateful that we are always able to come directly to you. And it is in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen. Thank you for joining me today.